NEBOSH International General Certificate. Management of Health and Safety. Question and answers. Question 1. Question. A. Define the term hazard. 2. Marks question. Hazard is defined as something with the potential to cause harm. Question. B. Define the term risk. 2. Marks question. Risk is defined as the probability, likelihood that the potential would be realized and its possible consequence and severity in terms of injury, damage or harm. Question. C. Identify 4 means of hazard identification that may be used in the workplace. 4. Marks questions. Means that may be used to identify hazards in the workplace include carrying out inspections, observations and safety audits, completing task and/or job analyses and risk assessments, the study of data on accidents and near-miss incidents including the investigation reports, reference to legislation and its accompanying guidance and manufacturers' documents such as safety data sheets, carrying out health surveillance and consulting with members of the workforce. Question 2. Question. A. Identify 4 types of health and safety information that could be displayed on a notice board in a workplace. 4. Marks questions. The types of information that could have been identified include the health and safety policy of the organization, the information for employees poster, information regarding health and safety representatives such as their names and contact details, targets set for the reduction of accidents and ill health and information showing the current level of performance against the targets, forthcoming health and safety events including information on training courses available, identification of first aid arrangements and procedures for evacuation in the event of a fire, health and safety posters specific to current campaigns being run, information on current issues affecting health and safety such as contract work, no-go areas and diversions, and a copy of the employer's liability insurance certificate. Question. B. Identify how the effectiveness of notice boards as a method of communicating health and safety information can be increased. 4. Marks questions. The ways of increasing the effectiveness of notice boards include ensuring they were located in a common and prominent area of the workplace such as the staff room or canteen, dedicating the boards to health and safety matters, ensuring the information displayed was relevant and current and kept up to date, giving consideration to all ethnic groups and employees with special needs, displaying the information in a neat and orderly fashion and making the notice board eye-catching by the use of color and graphics and, where possible, allocating responsibility for the upkeep of the board to a named member of the workforce. Question 3. Explain why personal protective equipment, PPE, should be considered as a last resort in the control of occupational health hazards. 8. Marks questions. There are numerous reasons why personal protective equipment, PPE, should be considered only after other possibilities or hierarchy of controls have been exhausted or failed. At a basic level, it is a legal requirement that other means of control are considered first. Other reasons include that PPE may not provide adequate protection because of such factors as poor selection, poor fit, incompatibility with other types of PPE, contamination, and misuse or non-use by employees. In addition, PPE is likely to be uncomfortable and relies for its effectiveness on a conscious action by the user. In certain circumstances, its use can actually create additional risks, for instance, warning sounds masked by hearing protection. Question 4. Give reasons why a verbal instruction may not be clearly understood by an employee. 8. Marks questions. The reasons include the nature of the working environment, e.g. high levels of noise, interference from personal protective equipment and other distractions, the use of too much technical jargon, language or dialect issues, ambiguity of the message, sensory impairment or learning difficulties, the inexperience of the recipient, e. being unable to relate properly to what is being said, and the fact that the instruction may be too complex or lengthy to be given verbally. Question 5. Question A. Define the term negligence. 2 marks question. Negligence is defined as a civil wrong, tort, involving unreasonably careless conduct, a breach of the common law duty of care, resulting in loss, damage or injury. Question B. Outline the 3 standard conditions that must be met for an injured employee to prove a case of negligence against his/her employer following an accident at work. 6 marks questions. The 3 standard conditions for an employee to prove a case of alleged negligence against an employer include: 1. A duty of care was owed by the employer, e. that the employee was acting in the course of his/her employment. 2. That the employer acted in breach of that duty by not doing everything that was reasonable to prevent foreseeable harm. 3. Thirdly, that the breach led directly to the loss, damage or injury. Question 6. Outline ways in which the health and safety culture of an organization might be improved. 8 marks questions. The ways to be improved include establishing and implementing a sound health and safety policy, securing the commitment of management and ensuring that managers lead by example, involving and consulting with employees on matters affecting their health and safety, and providing effective supervision and training. The organization should give equal priority to health and safety as other business objectives, such as production and quality, establishing effective means of communication with the workforce, and providing a pleasant working environment with good welfare facilities. Question 7. Question A. State the circumstances under which an employer must establish a health and safety committee. 2 marks question. An employer must establish a health and safety committee when one is requested, in writing, by 2 or more trade union-appointed safety representatives. Question B. Give 6 reasons why a health and safety committee may prove to be ineffective in practice. 6 marks questions. Lack of management commitment, no terms of reference for the committee, no agenda and/or minutes of the meetings being produced, an uneven balance between management and employee representatives, poor chairmanship, no access to the decision-making processes, infrequent meetings, inappropriate topics for discussion, and no access to health and safety expertise. Question 8. Identify the factors to be considered to ensure the health and safety of persons who are required to work on their own away from the workplace. 8 marks questions. The factors that would determine the actual level of risk at the work location include such issues as the type of work to be done and its attendant hazards and risks, their equipment to be used, the work environment and the control measures in place. The particular factors in relation to those working alone at a distant location could then have been identified. The competence and suitability of their persons involved, the methods of communication with the home base, and emergency and first aid procedures would all be relevant in this respect. Question 9. Outline the specific factors that should be considered when assessing the risks to employees working on night shifts. 8 marks questions. The factors to be considered include lighting, heating, welfare and first aid provision, and emergency arrangements, the effects of fatigue and the increased likelihood of human error, the number of hours worked and the period allowed for recovery between shifts, general well-being when normal routines are disrupted, the level of supervision provided and access to specialist advice if required, and the possible increased risk of violent assault on the way to and from work. Question 10. Question A. Explain the meaning of the term competent person. 2 marks question. The competent person is defined as a person would need to possess knowledge based on appropriate qualifications and training, the skills, experience and personal qualities to apply the knowledge in a given situation. Question B. Outline the organizational factors that may cause a person to work unsafely even though they are competent. 6 marks question. The organizational factors include management or peer group pressure, a poor safety culture in the organization, a lack of resources or equipment, a lack of clarity in roles and responsibilities, inadequate supervision and poor working conditions. Question 11. Question A. Explain the meaning of the term risk. 2. The risk is the product of the probability or likelihood of the occurrence and the severity of the occurrence of an unwanted event. Question B. Identify 6 hazards that might be considered when assessing the risks to the health and safety of mufti-storey car park attendant. 6 marks questions. The hazards facing a person employed as an attendant in a multi-storey car park include fumes and/or dust, impact or crushing by moving vehicles, fire, particularly in relation to fuel, extremes of ambient temperature, the possibility of being subjected to violence, noise from, for instance, car alarms, slips, trips or falls, exacerbated perhaps by oil and stairs, biological hazards from the presence of vermin, human waste and hypodermic needles, and ergonomic hazards caused by the need to stoop or twist in what might be a restricted workspace.
Please give comment and suggestions.
Thank you.
Subscribe our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for more updates. Thank for visit our channel. See you next class.
Thank you.